Greer, hi. How are you doing? Terrible. Which is one of the reasons why I'm doing this stream. Even though like, shouldn't be in this room right now because of how hot it is. Okay, well, suppose I can always just link people to the VOD after the fact. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing as well as can be under whatever your current circumstances are. So I'll just get right down to it. I've tried to draw attention to this subject many times before, and I never got a reaction from anybody. And considering what happened today, I really hope that that can change. For those of you who are unaware, there is a bill currently poised to go to the Senate floor called the Kids Act, also known as KOSA, also known as the Screen Act, and a few other names. On the surface, these seem like good ideas. Basically helping to prevent minors from getting access to content that they shouldn't. However, going deeper into these collection of bills, a lot of the wording becomes very vague, and it becomes very readily apparent the deeper you get that this is meant to be for mass surveillance. This is not me putting on my tinfoil hat. This has actually been proven by a lot of people, and there are like organizations and just groups out there trying to get this shit stopped. This bill would essentially mandate that you have to use your government ID or social security number. I wish I was making that up. That's already in effect in Texas. To go online and do anything at all. And it doesn't look like this would be a you put in the information once and that's it. You are going to be tracked. Every single thing that you do. And this is about as dystopian as you can get, and the real kicker is that there's not actually anything in the bill that prevents children from what it says that, they shouldn't have access to. This is meant to help survey and censor the internet as we know it. It can be used to essentially eliminate free speech, freedom of expression, and essentially just oppress everybody. To the point where it's like if you're outspoken against dear leader, you'll get put on a list. And yeah, they haven't. It's passed the committee. It hasn't passed the Senate yet, and apparently it also has to go back to the House. I thought it had already gone through the House. I have no idea. But the truly disgusting part of this is that everybody on the committee that was reviewing this, they voted unanimously for it. I'm appalled, especially considering that one of the people who was in charge of the committee was Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz, yeah, he's a Trump sycophant, but he's always championed free speech, First Amendment, and all that stuff. And this is basically undermining everything. That having been said, as I mentioned, this has not gone to the Senate yet. This has not gone back to the House yet. If you can get loud about this, contact everybody in the government that you can, local and otherwise, and just inundate them with messages saying, do not pass this. And if you really wanna nail it home for them, say, if you do, neither me, nor my family, nor my friends, nor their family, nor their friends are going to vote for your ass during the next election. Because all these people want is power. And if you take away ours, we're sure as shit going to take away yours. That having been said, and this is not something I ever wanted to say. This is actually something I was debating talking about at all, if it ever came to this. Depending on whether or not this passes, depending on when it's supposed to go into effect, if it does pass, and what exactly the laws surrounding it entail. If it is as bad as people are saying it is, and knowing our government, I would not be surprised. I'm not coming back on the internet. Period. I'm not going to delete any accounts or anything, but I refuse to dox myself, and I refuse to put myself at risk of having my identity stolen and sold to companies or hackers or whoever the fuck. That's not me being defeatist. That's just me not wanting to give in my own way. Because the alternative is exactly as I said. I come on here, I give my government my full name, my picture, and essentially full access to parts of my life that they have no right peeking into. And I'm not going to. Yeah, I'm just not going to do that. Especially like if this shit somehow gets in conjunction with this horror story that we've been hearing about, with Twitch thinking about integrating AI into their the streaming aspects to train AI. I have no idea how they're even going to get away with that, considering that people are playing games from like Nintendo and Disney. All these people who are, iron grip about their IPs. Having an AI train off that shit, that is lawsuits waiting to happen. Um, but yeah, so there's all that. I will probably be making a highlight of this, even though this is only like, what, short of 12 minutes, and putting this up on my socials because people need to know about it. People need to act on it immediately. We need to make certain that these bills or bill, whatever, do not pass. Granted, the next administration, when it comes in, I'm saying when because I think we're at a point where no matter what the current administration does, we're gonna find a way to oust them. They can undo it. They've undone similar shit in the past. Like the whole oh god. There was the in the late 90s, people were trying to end net neutrality. And the FCC actually succeeded for a time. And then the Obama administration came in and they're like, yeah, no, net neutrality needs to be a thing. So, yeah, we're gonna just abolish all that shit that happened. And, we've been basically living in a golden age, ever since. Um, Also, actually, that's, huh. I never consider the possibility that whatever shit happens here, if state laws can override it, because I know for a fact that net neutrality is something that is essentially in the local constitution, here in Washington. Yeah, yeah, but still, uh, I don't know if I know that there are people, um, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn here. Um, I have been told by several people that my mere presence online has stopped them from essentially eating a bullet. And I don't want to take that away from them. Yeah, not. You know what I mean. I don't want to take myself away from them if I bring them that much comfort. So if people insist that I stick around, I will, albeit very reluctantly. I'll be looking into as many countermeasures, let's just say, as I can. Um, but yes, as Kikish said, act, 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 act. Spread the word as far, wide, and as loud as you can. Do it immediately on all of your socials. Contact your friends in real life, contact your family, educate them on this shit, and have them call and write because there is still time, limited though it is. We can maybe prove that there are some people in DC that have souls and common sense. Maybe. Maybe. Um, I've promised my one partner that I am not going to be a defeatist. As hard as it is not to give up sometimes these days. Um, so, yeah. I don't think I have anything else to add on the topic other than it would be me retreading it over and over and over again. Um, Although, actually, no, there is one thing I will say. Among these bills, I don't know if it was bundled in with whatever the committee was just looking at and decided to pass. Um, it there is someone who has decided to say that private servers for games like Warcraft and Call of Duty and Minecraft, etc., should be considered illegal. Even though in the case of Minecraft, the private servers are like the entire fucking point. But supposedly in Minecraft, I've never been there myself, but there is a recreation of the Library of Alexandria, and it actually has legit items in there, not just, a book that has 3 or 4 pages. They've included full blown novels of like banned text from schools and everything that didn't want to talk about racial insensitivity and all that stuff. Um, I'm assuming that the creators have a backup that they can access and just, restore if it was ever taken down. Because it'd be kind of crazy if they didn't. But that will still be not the backup, but the one that's online now will be deleted, as well as countless other worlds that people have put countless hours of their lives into, just gone. Yeah, yeah. Um. So yeah, this is also like all right. I'm gonna get a little bit, at least in my language, NSFW here, and I apologize for that. This whole shit on the side with the credit card companies deciding to, basically not allow payment to be processed for certain things because they suddenly have a high horse and don't want extra money. I don't get that. But um one of the things that they did was they banned furries. Not half furries like Kimono Mimi, like Buff Pup, for example. They haven't banned that, but they have banned furries completely from their platform. Um because according to their Sun Revised TOS, we represent, I'm not going to use the real word, animality and the desire to engage in it. Because apparently, being on 2 legs and having the ability to talk and act like a human just doesn't count. And this degree of censorship has been rumored to be, if shit really gets down to it, yeah. So I will be gone regardless, as will I don't know how many others. Um, um, all of my partners would be gone. Um, we would have nowhere to go. where we basically just exist as text on our phones without pictures. It's it's horrendous to think about. But again, yeah, do everything in your yeah, exactly. And like what's hilarious is that most of the fandom, as far as I know, they are in high ranking positions of like tech workers. So you're basically going to be ruining the lives of the people that are helping to keep this country going. What the fuck is wrong with everyone? Fantasy is fantasy. It's literally not hurting anybody. And if the fantasy characters are getting hurt, well, again, it's fucking fantasy. I could say I should say I say the same about anime and a lot of other stuff. Yeah, there are a bunch of very, let's just say, controversial subjects across a lot of media, including stuff that comes out of Japan. But again, it's fantasy. Let people indulge in fantasy, because if you don't let them indulge in fantasy, then they might be tempted to try it in reality because they don't have any other outlets. Or, they'll just get depressed because they don't know what else to do with their lives. And yeah, suddenly we're starting to see the population decrease by people's own hand. I'm not talking about like mass casualty events. I'm talking about like, KMS shit. And that is another reason why trying to stop these bills is, in my opinion, mandatory. Someone did a study, right? That not only will these bills do nothing at all to actually protect kids, but it will shut potentially. I'm saying potentially because if it does pass, we honestly don't know. I mean, everyone suspects, everyone surmises, hypothesizes, guesses what the government is going to do. It's entirely possible that they are actually smart and they do exactly what the bills say they're going to do on the surface and do nothing else. But if these hypotheses, whatever, guesses, so on and so forth, do prove to be correct, that is going to mean the start of elimination of communities for kids and teens who are in abuse situations and who have no other means of communication with the outside world. That is putting, I don't know how many lives at risk. Because if you cannot communicate with the outside world, what is going to happen to you? People won't know where you are, what happened to you. And that lack of communication can be used to the benefit of their abusers, to the point you get the idea. Hi, Astra. Sorry, we're talking heavy shit tonight. Exactly. So yeah, I'll say it again and again and again and again. I will repost it if I ever see it on my feeds, and it needs to be addressed. contact the people that you know can do shit about this and tell them to do shit about this. Because, yeah, while it might be passed and then later on undone by people with common sense, of which there are, it's just it doesn't seem like it because the current administration is doing their best to sweep them under the rug. By that point, a lot of damage will already be done. Um, lives. I'm fairly certain lives will be lost. Either due to abuse or because of self-termination or even accidents that result in someone trying to escape a certain situation and then, let's just say, running into traffic. Something outlandish, but is very much a possibility. The people who are in charge of all this don't seem to realize just how fragile the balance of things are right now. Because, yeah, we have a bunch of psychos who are saying, we have to pass this for the children. And they have absolutely drunk all the Kool-Aid and all the Kool-Aid reserves. But there are a lot more people out there who want to see this done. And obviously, I'm one of them. And a lot of people here are ones that agree with me as well. But unlike, unlike the people on the other side who will threaten violence at the most absurd of things, like, oh hey, look, that little boy has had an accident and his mother is taking him into the woman's restroom because there isn't a family restroom or whatever. Oh my god, what is she doing to this poor kid? Everyone harass her. We're not like that. But there are people on this side who don't like that, who don't want the current regime to a point that they will reach a boiling point themselves. We need to make sure, among other things, that we get this voted down and killed in the Senate, because the more that this shit happens, the more that the pressure builds, and then we will be in a situation that you've seen in, let's just say, a few fictional movies. Wolverines, for example. Even though that was, not exactly a civil war, but yeah. Yes. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, think of the children, but, let's take away their ability to, have free food and all the loving care that they need after, traumatic events. Yeah, that is the absolute best way to take care of them, is to make sure that they remain hungry and traumatized. Sure. I make yeah, it is. The stuff that, everyone in the administration said was not real and wasn't going to come to pass. But yeah, again, for the sake of people who need the free space and for defusing a situation before it gets much, much worse. Call your family, call your friends, have them call their family and their friends, and then when you've done that and you've educated them on this situation, you go and you write and you call and you email your ass off telling the people in the Senate, do not do this. And you make absolutely certain that when you tell them that, you say, if you do pass this, you are never being voted for again. Because that is the whole fucking point. Is they want to remain in power. Which we, the people, have the ability to strip away. Yes, exactly. StopCosa.com. Go there. Like, either right now or after stream. Just do everything you can as quickly as you can. I am dead fucking serious about this. This is not like, oh yeah, you know, I'll get to it tomorrow or the next day when I have time. You have to do this. And the truly terrifying part about this, the truly terrifying part, is that so many people right now don't know that this shit is going on. Because the government has done everything that they possibly can to make sure that this is not in the mainstream news. They're trying to get this shit passed right under your nose. And it was already a heavy point of contention. Like the first vote a few months back, it was a 225 yes, but to 117 no. That's not an insignificant number. And apparently, even though it was unanimously voted in whatever the fuck committee is in charge of this shit, there was apparently a bunch of arguments. And that just goes to show that this is still very much controversial. People know what this can do. Yes. No, absolutely. Get rid of the Electoral College. I don't even know how the fuck that works. Just all of a sudden, oh hey, look, extra votes that somehow matter, you know, more than anything else. What? Why would you even... Why? Why would you build a government that is all about, you know, about the people voting, and then some small group has the ability to basically say, yeah, your votes don't matter, but ours do. Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't. Okay. No, I won't. When I heard the results of the last election, when I learned that dear leader won, I was so traumatized that I was actually mute for 2.5 months. I could not speak. I had to actually fight myself to get back to a point where I could. And that's kind of the point, isn't it? They want to do shit that is so fucking heinous and outrageous that you don't know what to do except stand back and watch. Silent, complacent. Fuck that. I proudly wear a No Kings beanie wherever I go. I've gotten looks from people, I've gotten a few muttered comments behind my back by people who are openly MAGA. I don't give a fuck. What we are in right now is not a presidency. It's not even an oligarchy or even a dictatorship. It is the epitome of idiocracy with fascism sprinkled over it like chocolate flakes. But we are not silent. We will not be silent. I sure as fuck won't. Yeah, no, he actually would have been an improvement. uh, I think I made my point. Just, I've wanted to give up. I will admit this. I have wanted to give up more often than not. Um, and by that, I do mean in the permanent way. Because on top of, the idea of being torn away from my friends and my loved ones because of all this shit, because it would deny me access, to the ability to communicate safely with them, I see so many other people suffering on the daily. Kickish with your financial problems. Um, Noctis, who I swore on my life that I would do my best to make sure he stays alive by helping pay his medical bills every month. Um, and there's only so much that I can do. And it kills me that I cannot do more. And a lot of times I just, for the sake of being able to continue on, I force myself to take a day off or more, um because I can't stand to see messages like I'm going hungry, or my pet is dying, or my friend is in the hospital, or something. And it's not because I don't want to stop caring. It's because I know for a fact that I will break myself doing everything I can to see them better and happy. I have already I only got paid $300 this month. That is barely enough to cover food for a week and a half. And I've already helped a few friends with, well, I only have 1/3 left. And the month has only just started. I'm not going to ask people help me. I just wish I could do more. I wish I could be more than a face on a screen and a voice from your speakers and text in your DMs. I would give everything, even my life, if I knew it would help everyone. And honestly, right now I think if the heat and the smoke outside weren't so bad, I'd be crying my eyes out right now. But I am dehydrated as fuck, so I'm actually kind of thankful for that at the moment. God damn it. So, can you all hear? I know it's just it's work. It took me almost 3 days to figure out how to do it, to contact everyone in that committee to tell them to vote no, which fat lot of good it did, but I still tried. Please do everything that you can to make sure that these bills are killed, because while we might not be able to do anything about our health or our wealth, we could at least save the places that matter to us most, which being the generation that we're in, being the people that we are. That's essential to our lives. And not just for the sake of being able to, like in Kickish, for example, it's not about the commissions. It's about maintaining connections, maintaining community, making sure that you are heard and actually listened to, and people can reach out to you for the same. So please, please, please promise me that once I end this stream, you will all do what you can. You will contact whoever you can as quickly as you can and let your voice be heard. Even if it's just a shout in the distance, even if it's a long shot, it's better than not doing anything at all. Thank you. I don't need hugs. I need a promise. Hugs don't matter. They're appreciated, but they don't matter. What I'm talking about, that is what matters. Because if this shit passes, who knows what the fuck is gonna happen to us? Everything that we are, everything that we fight for and strive for is at jeopardy. I cannot stress this enough. I don't know. Probably not, other than just spreading the word. Or that. Yeah, a coalition. That's an idea. Possibly Kickish. I'm uncertain. I have done several streams like this in the past. None as focused, mostly because when I started talking about this, people went deathly silent and actually left. Um, so I just was like, oh no, they're not trying to. They've already succeeded. They've already implemented shit. Yeah, no, their version of what is currently about to go to the Senate that passed last March, and it's been a complete shit show. There have been mass protests in the streets. The current, well, not the current, the last prime minister was actually forced to resign because of it, among other things, but it hasn't been repealed yet either. And supposedly it is still possible to get around a lot of what may or may not be coming with VPNs. So that's one of those countermeasures I was talking about. I'm going to try and invest in one that I know will not collect data, that just does what it's supposed to do. Um, again, but yeah, just do everything you can. I'm fucking begging you. I don't know if you're here live, if you're watching the VOD. If you are watching the VOD and there's still time, the day right now is August 5th. It is 2:14 roughly my time. I don't know what that is in Eastern off the top of my head, but the Eastern time is what matters the most because that is when the government is doing shit. Uh, Agreed. Absolutely. 5:13? Okay. I'm just doing it for the sake of making sure there's like a timestamp. I don't know. I'm in a room right now that's in the 90s and I'm heat sensitive. So I'm literally putting myself at risk of heat stroke to do this fucking stream. That is how serious I am about this shit. I've got a I had like an entire gallon of water next to me that I've already chugged before the stream, and I'm already feeling dehydrated again. So, probably for the sake of my health, I should be ending stream now. I might come back later on this evening, maybe with a game, maybe to just rehash this. I don't know. All I know is that I'm going to keep trying on my end to do everything I possibly can. Um, which unfortunately I don't think is going to involve reposts or retweets anymore because those don't get traction on my end. Um, but as far as contacting my government goes, I'm not going to shut the fuck up about this. I'm going to give them all the biggest proverbial dick kicking that I can from my little hovel. Just make sure that you spread the word. Put it out on your socials. put it out to your friends and family. Have them spread the word. Try to get this to be recognized as something that is not good for anybody. Because to give you an idea of the shit that we could, I'm still going to say potentially, because I don't know what's going to happen at like a state level. If this shit passes, it tends to vary state by state. Because there's always like an interpretation, you know. But Texas. Texas right now is already passed like local legislation that is similar to what we are seeing that's about to go to the Senate floor. And because of that legislation, perfect example. Let's say that you are locked out of your Blue Sky account. Not because you were suspended, not because you were banned, but because you simply forgot your password, right? Which means that if you log back in, you have to redo all your, your settings because, it's just like that with some platforms. As part of proof, instead of simply, requesting a password reset through your email, you now have to provide your fucking social security number. What? And that's even before they email you, the link to reset your password. You have to give them basically minor access to your social security account to prove that you are you. And that isn't something you can opt out on. That isn't part of two-step verification. That is bullshit that has to do with their new laws. And we will all potentially have to deal with that crap if these bills pass. Because it's one thing to tie a credit card to Steam. I already have a credit card tied to Steam. That doesn't fucking matter. And the same with Discord. I already have credit cards tied to Discord. Even if I'm not using Nitro, I still have them tied to it to help prove that I am a fucking adult. But my brain is trying to bake in its skull. I think I actually would have to stop this for now, much as I want to keep railing on about this. I will be putting up the link to this VOD, the Twitch version, as soon as this stream is done. Okay, yeah, my DMs are open, so I'll keep my phone unlocked and talk to you there. Everyone else, I've already said it many times. I'm going to say it again. Call your family, your friends, and your government officials. Kill these bills. Make sure that they do not pass. This is literally life and death for so many people. Okay. That'll be it for now. I will see you all when I see you. Hopefully sooner rather than later. Hopefully under better circumstances. Ja. And woof. And Yes, fivecalls.org. Go there as soon as you possibly can and stopcosa.com. Yes, Helix, I'm ending, but thank you. I'll be putting up the VOD for this momentarily. Yeah. Oh, there's me trying to liven shit up. Bye everyone.